This year's Pan Mass Challenge is celebrating a major milestone. That's right. The PMC crossed the $1 billion threshold for lifetime fundraising. WBZ's Lisa Hughes is live for us in Sturbridge tonight, where the ride all begins. And Lisa, these funds really helping to pave the way, hopefully, for a future without cancer.
It is so true, and we're seeing huge, David. Just 3 months ago, after years of trials and testing, the FDA approved a first-of-its-kind drug for certain brain tumors in children that never would have been possible without families, PMC donations, and doctors who refused to give up.
This is Ogenda, the liquid form.
The medicine in this tiny vial represents tremendous hope for many children with brain tumors.
What changes for these patients because of the drug?
We now have options to treat the tumor.
Pediatric oncologist Dr. Pratiti Bandopade, whom everyone calls Dr. Mimi, heads up the Dana-Farber lab dedicated to finding a cure and better treatments for low-grade gliomas.
The majority of children will survive. That's the good news. But the scary thing is that they're living with this for their whole life.
Sometimes, unfortunately, it's fatal.
Dr. Ramin Barukim co-leads Dana-Farber's pediatric low-grade glioma program.
When I look back and judge what have I accomplished, in my life, I'm going to look back at this.
A breakthrough and a partnership with PMC teams and families.
We wanted to understand why there wasn't better research and newer drug treatments for our children.
Andrew Janauer's daughter, Samantha, was diagnosed with a brain tumor at 3.
When your child is diagnosed with cancer, you assume that you're in one of the best cancer institutions in the world, that the cavalry is going to arrive in white coats and they're going to have the answer.
But 20 years ago, there weren't many answers. So the Janauers and 2 other families began funding the Dana-Farber lab. And then AJ was introduced to the PMC.
The best that medical science had to offer our children wasn't good enough. And so the cavalry became us on our bikes instead of horses.
In 2007, they launched the program. Researchers discovered the mutation causing the tumors to grow. And the Dana-Farber team found a drug, essentially abandoned on a shelf, that might treat it. But first, they had to convince the company that gave up the drug for melanoma to let them test it on kids with brain tumors.
Go PMC.
In 2017, the same year we profiled AJ and Sammy's fundraising ride on a tandem bike and her indomitable spirit, PMC donations supported the first clinical trial of Ogenda, the drug the FDA approved in April.
How important was PMC funding in the development of this drug?
It was essential. This FDA approval would 100% not have happened without the PMC. Every time I meet with these families, I'm just awestruck by how selfless they are.
How exciting was it for you to find out that Ogenda had FDA approval?
I'm going to try not to cry. It's not about the destination, it's about the journey. The journey's not over.
The doctors and their team are now testing drugs to treat other brain tumor mutations, including the one that affects 8-year-old Declan Vale, the inspiration behind Team Brainstorms. AJ and Sammy will ride a tandem this year, and at 23, for the first time, she'll ride part of the PMC on her own, a shared mission that's already saving lives.
And you can see what it says, right? One team, one dream.
And the dream is to have
the cure for every single child.
And that's what fires us up, those of us who ride and volunteer and donate, those breakthroughs that make life better for families. And David, as I send it back to you, we all ride with people in our heart. And I'll be thinking about Sarah Robleski and her husband Bobby and their whole family, and Sarah's son Declan, and just wishing them the best. That's why we ride.
Declan strong, no doubt about it, and a great, great cause. Thank you, Lisa, so much. Appreciate it. And make sure you join us tonight at 7 o'clock for WBZ's Pan Mass Challenge Everyday Heroes Special. You can watch it on TV 38 on CBS News Boston as well, again, coming up at 7 o'clock. And